Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 358. I'm Todd Oxtra, one of your hosts, and this is your guide to the geek side. I'm joined by Charlie Carden from beautiful Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Oh my God, this is 100% the SFU free-for-all. It's the death match where we're slugging it out with four of us. Oh my God.
Wait, what?
Whoops.
There's no death in... Yeah, this is not...
Trident or anything.
This is not the Hunger Games, no. But we are joined by two members, additional members of the Secret Friends Unite podcast tonight. Our Canardian, Mr. Mark Carabin. How you doing, bud?
I am great. Very excited to be part of this.
I'm wearing our shirt, Mark. I'm wearing our shirt. Woo.
I'm representing the Star Wars stuff too. Not us specifically, but some men.
Right. Fair.
I got my Marvel love going on here.
Oh yeah, some
Nice.
Spider-Gwen, Ghost Spider.
Spider-Gwen hoodie. Yep.
Whatever she calls
Right.
herself these days.
Spider.
Joined, and then Katie Quinn Pearson. How are you,
Hi.
Katie?
I am a lot better than I was earlier this week. I am currently getting over COVID, so that was
God.
super fun. Yes, finally got it.
Damn. Yikes.
Yeah, it was rough, but doing much better now, so I am very happy to be here.
Good to hear.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Well, it's
Good.
yeah. We
Hey,
rarely have a foursome, but we thought this would be a lot of fun. This is kind of our Friendy Awards. This is our show. Is all going to be about the best, worst, most exciting of 2021 in all things movies, TV. We call it the potpourri segment, and also the news. So this is going to be a lot of fun. We are actually going to give Madam Web another week off. You know, it's well deserved. She actually developed a sad case of I believe she called it the Ohio crotch crickets. So she's out for another week.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, and she's going to recover.
We give her too much time off, she may never come back, and she may just be dead. I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, she died of a broken heart.
Oh,
Yes,
fair.
Fair. Yeah, so
Or
with
she
that,
just got sick of Charlie.
Oh, man. You know what? You always got to make it personal. That's rough. I'll take it. It's okay. I'm sure I deserve it.
Yeah, well, we will pivot, though, to a cover that also graces the same number of this episode, and that is Adventure Comics number 358. And the fun part about this comic is we've got Superboy plays the most dangerous game of his life when he is stalked by the Hunter. This is when Adventure Comics was covering the Legion of Superheroes, which Superboy was a member of. And the cover is graced with the Hunter. When I looked, this is July 1967. Post Kraven the Hunter in 1964. So we get this odd-looking man.
I'm going to jump in and say here, if you will, this is not only Kraven the Hunter, but we've also got elements of Happy Hogan and Nick Fury with that eye patch.
And Deathstroke.
This was absolutely wholesale DC ripoff. It's like, guys, come on. It's not necessary to take it that far.
Yeah, when was the last time we had like a gun on the cover of like an actual gun on the cover of a comic? It's been a while, like a realistic gun.
Right in there, and he's aiming for a neck shot too, which is just brutal.
Right.
Also, I want to know how many perspectives they have going on in this particular image, because the gun is on one plane of existence, he's on another plane of existence, the ground is on a different plane of existence. Like, it is wild.
Absolutely reminds me of this. Is always the point to make about the old Star Trek. Anytime they beam down to a planet, it's the same, like all styrofoam rocks, and it's 9 different light sources because they're on a soundstage. It's like, and there's that weird humming in the background. So this really reminds me. This is like a Star Trek planet for Superboy. There you go.
I spoiled myself on the plot, but oh man, this is a good one. So check it out by all means.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's only 12 cents, guys. It's a bargain of a story. 12 cents? Man,
Huge
32
bargain.
pages.
All the
goodness.
action. All the action.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes. So that is it for our cover. And if you're watching the YouTube version, you will actually see that cover as we speak. So you're in for a wild ride with that. But with that, we need to check into the Geek Easy, our favorite geek establishment, for our libation and nerderation. So let's go.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geek Easy, drinks are pour, and we are ready to get our nerd on. So, this is what we've been watching or reading. And let's see, Katie, what are you bringing to the table?
I am super excited because I finally started the final season of Clone Wars. I've been going through that. I just kind of got myself hooked watching Rebels. Now I'm going Clone Wars. So I'm just going down that. And that means I'm going to be going into Bad Batch next. Super stoked about that. And then I'm continuing my obsession with, I know, Charlie, I already saw it. I'm really excited to talk about that later.
I mean, Bad Batch is very 50-50 for me. I'm sorry. And Mark and I, we already did our group therapy while the show was on, so it's okay.
But then I'm also reading the 2021 run of America Chavez.
Ooh,
so I'm taking advantage
nice.
of my ongoing Marvel Unlimited subscription that I started a month ago.
That's a character I don't know much about, America Chavez. So is there like an overview? Can you give us an overview really quick?
She is an interdimensional gal who can punch and kick, super strength, flight. She can make stars that are dimensional portals that go to different dimensions. And so she can like teleport people around if you walk through it. So yeah, she's just basically an ass-kicking badass.
That is, and I got a little taste of that. You were the one who gave me the nudge about the Young Avengers, and she's, what was that, the 2013 run that you've had me?
Yeah, it was the more recent version, yeah.
Yeah, so, and she's in there. Yeah, she's tight, and we're going to see her in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness this spring, so everybody will know her name, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Katie, when you said that, like, she's a interplanetary ass-kicking girl, I thought of, like, Schoolhouse Rock with interplanetary Janet. She's a galaxy girl.
Yes.
Oh, my, wow. Zing. Holy cow.
Deep cut. Yeah. Well, very cool, very cool. And Mark, you were Twitch streaming last night. I was following along, playing with you, and you brought up the fact that this movie has been your life.
Just basically on repeat. When you find something that a 1-year-old likes, you stick to it. So
yes.
Finn has fallen absolutely in love with Encanto, and luckily, compared to some of the shows and things that he has liked in the past, this is actually phenomenal. So like one of my favorite Disney movies in a long time, one of my favorite movies of the year, I think we'll see that later. But Encanto is on Disney Plus. It's a great like story, little superhero vibe with a family with magical, mystical, amazing powers, and then one person who's not. That's played by Rosa Diaz from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
What's her name? Beatrice Potter. What's her
Stephanie
name?
Beatrice.
Stephanie Beatrice. God, I love her. Phenomenal.
She's
absolutely
fantastic.
phenomenal.
There's one moment that I was like, oh, there's her Diaz voice, because like she does a completely other voice.
I was going to say very,
Right.
less edgy and punchy.
Yeah.
Right.
There's one moment she kind of like she gets frustrated, and you can hear like the lower register Diaz that she does. But anyway, this is a great movie, and it's I've seen it many times, including again tonight. So that's it's good though. It's really good.
I am
Great
absolutely reminded, Mark, of my experience with all three of my sons. With Thomas the Tank Engine at that exact same age. I don't know how they discovered it all in the same way. It started with my son Noah. He's now 21. Then spilled over to my son Jackson. He's 16. And then my late son Parker, who would be 15 now. My God. All the adoration of Thomas the Tank Engine, at first voiced by the great Ringo Starr, later than Alec Baldwin. Just a weird sensation.
George Carlin.
Yeah, George Carlin. But I would say I enjoyed Encanto very much more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Wiggles for my son, which I think you're getting a little bit of Wiggles too.
We got a little bit into the Wiggles.
Yeah, and so did I.
Favorite.
Yeah, definitely Wiggles and Bob the Builder. I had that with Noah, my oldest son, for sure.
All right.
Swiper, no swiping. That's all I'll say,
no
too.
swiping. You got it.
Okay, Charlie, you are deep into these weird, modern soap operas that are essentially... This is like Dallas.
Oh, my God.
Dallas,
oh, my God.
Modern Dallas.
And I got to tell you, I might be paying the price because I sent my wife upstairs absolutely furious when we had to do this recording because we ended season 3 led into season 4, which just concluded, of Yellowstone. Oh my God, at the end of season 3, it was a blowout. The entire family was assaulted. People were, looking, you didn't know if people lived or died. But anyway, Yellowstone is about this. Basically, yes, Todd said it right. It's Dallas, but it's set in Montana. It's set around ranchers, and it is eminently more violent than Dallas ever was. There are different crisscrosses, and Kevin Costner is the matriarch of this, or the patriarch. No, there's no matriarch. The patriarch of this family, and so many dirty dealings and this and that going back and forth. But it is gripping. Absolutely gripping. It's also spawned its way to a prequel series called 1883, which I talked about in our last episode, which stars Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. But it's absolutely it's just rocking your socks off. If you watch it, you will get sucked in. It's over on Peacock right now. We did have to transition over to the Paramount Plus app, which I hope is going to be covered, because I know it's one of those that it's a cable net and we don't have cable. So I hope we don't watch the first episode and they're like, "Oh, you're screwed. Sorry, you can't watch the rest." Then it's
owned by Viacom. So
but why the hell isn't it on Paramount Plus? That's what I want to know.
Must be a previous deal, probably before Paramount Plus came out. My deal.
That's completely ridiculous. But regardless, we're crazy about that. So when we finish here, then if we don't watch the rest of that first episode, I might be key for a divorce by the morning, because my wife will kill me. Because it's just that, because everybody was in peril at the end of that last episode. Then we watched the first 5 minutes, and now I'm here with you guys.
So how many people in Yellowstone were actually at the Capitol on January 6th? That's all I got to ask.
Absolutely. That's why there was a lag in production. Because they were all there with Q Shaman. Sorry.
You're completely blowing my mind on this. I thought this was a Yogi Bear spinoff.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
I might be interested in it if it was a Yogi Bear spinoff.
Journey.
I got a list of stuff to watch with Finn. I think you're changing my mind. Is it?
Absolutely tell you that in the first episode you do see Yogi Bear and Boo Boo, and they both get shot in the head immediately, dragged off, and skinned and gutted.
So definitely don't watch it with Finn.
Yeah, I would not
definitely
do that.
don't watch it with Finn.
Yeah,
when I was a kid, my dad went hunting in Montana, and that was my breadth of the experience that I remember. So yeah, definitely don't watch it with kids. So
they stole the wrong picnic basket.
They sure, and they sure, and then they got two behind the ear from Kevin Costner. It's rough. Secondly, and I know Katie's going to have some thoughts about this, and we're going to be talking about this on the next episode of Code 47, not this week, but the next time we publish, is that Star Trek Prodigy is back. Katie, did you watch this week's episode yet?
No, I am putting off watching them. I'm just going to binge them all in just one really rough day before our episode.
You are reminding me of what it was like for my ex-cohorts, Rich and Aaron, getting through Lower Decks season 2, because they really hated it. And I was kind of willy-nilly on it, but I may watch it again with a fresh set of eyes. But this episode was absolutely delightful. It really was. You got a lot. You got a holodeck program that gave you some beautiful cameos of previous Trek characters, and it set up the remaining 4 episodes of the season for what we've been promised all along, which is a continuation of the Star Trek Voyager story. So, Katie, watch it immediately. I would say this is the redemption episode. If you
what episode is this? I'm just curious at how long.
Number 6. This is number 6.
So I have to tolerate Dale for 6 episodes before he's not a total rube.
I thought you had at least watched 1 or 2. I assume, because the first 2 episodes.
I got through 4, and then I think that was all that was out when I was watching it.
You can suffer through 1 more, and then you can watch this one. It'll be an absolute joy.
No, my problem is now I have to go, because of my ADHD, I have to go back and rewatch the first 4 so I can remember what was going on.
Well, you know, but again, that's where Memory Alpha comes in. You can look at that, but regardless, this was really worth it. I would absolutely say. And Mark, if I'm not mistaken, I think you still owe me an episode of Lower Decks. Didn't we talk about that?
Yeah, it sounds really enticing. With you have to chug your way through it, and
no, it's a different show, Mark. This is a different one.
Yeah,
I love Lower Decks.
Oh, well,
I think Lower Decks is fantastic.
And I really need to go, because again, in part in company with Rich and Aaron, They really dislike Lower Decks. I was, in some ways, I was kind of going with the flow. I might need to watch it again.
I would say on the opposite. I like the idea
of
Prodigy better. I just hate the main character so far. But I think Lower Decks, Mark, if you like Family Guy humor with your Star Wars, Star Trek, that's Lower Decks. Prodigy is more like a kid's show, which I'm enjoying. True. I like it. Yeah. But yeah, that kid, that the main character, I'm on episode 3. I just finished that. He's horrible.
Oh. Yeah, he's
the Upper Deckers.
Yeah, he is like he's basically like who was the kid from Aladdin? What was his name? Aladdin.
Aladdin was better than him.
Yeah, he's an absolutely obnoxious version of Aladdin. Plus Ezra from Rebels, even more annoying. He's kind of a scammer, just a total dipshit. But this episode was great.
That doesn't bother me, but I won't get into it right now. I will save all of my
Well, if he gets better, Charlie, if you're saying he's improving as a character,
this was I would say watch this episode if you've not seen it at all, because it not only provides a little redemption for Dahl as a character. We were talking about this on Code 47 today, which will be out by the time you're listening to this. Provides a little redemption for him, but also, like I said, tease things up with why the Protostar, the ship that they're on, why they stumbled upon it and what's going on with that. Because it's very weird that this brand new top of the line prototype starship, it was on a rock in the Delta Quadrant, 80,000 light years from the Federation. This explains that a little bit. So it's a key episode. I would highly recommend watching it. So, but anyway, I won't spoil anymore. Watch it. Please watch it. And that's all I got, Todd. Back to you.
All right. Well, my volume went out for a second there, so let me bring back the flow because it disappeared for a second. All right. So for me, I finally finished Matrix Resurrections. I know we talked about a little bit before. It took me about 2 days because it's a long movie. It's 2.5 hours. I will say it's not a great movie. That's indisputable. I don't think anybody feels that way. But once again, if you didn't like The Matrix, Charlie, this is not a movie for you at all. Because it's almost like saying, you don't like the first three Star Wars? Watch the fourth Star Wars.
But tell me somebody who loves The Matrix. I've met one person so far who said who was a Matrix fan.
I've gone further. I've seen what's out there. Some people do like it. Some people don't. It's like 66% on Rotten Tomatoes. So even like the critics, it's split there as well. So Charlie, you're just looking for people to hate The Matrix because you hate The Matrix. So I'm looking for people who kind of like enjoy The Matrix and say, did you like this or hate this?
Hard to find with that 34% that hate it right now. So that's not a bad number.
Yeah. So I will say this: it is an unnecessary movie. It is doing some interesting things that work sometimes. I liked the Neil Patrick Harris character. I thought he was charming. I agree. And I liked the pivot on that. The fact that they could not get Agent Smith back, that was a little weird. Hugo Weaving wanting nothing to do with this. They did play on the whole, and I mean, they came out and said, WB wants a sequel. I mean, that's right there in their face. But it was in the position of a video game. So that's what they were going to do versus a movie. Because in this world of The Matrix, it was a video game rather than a movie series. So, I think the biggest problem for me was what made The Matrix special was its innovative special effects, along with its embracing of martial arts, like the wire work. There was little to no martial arts in this movie. It's like they just said, we don't want to do that. And it's like, well, why not? That's what made it unique and different at the time. I didn't think they brought anything new to the table with a visual sense. I think they even said they removed like the green like filter or whatever it had for the first movie, which kind of gave it thing. And then the music was essentially ineffective. So once again, it's missing a lot of those key things, what I thought was really made The Matrix right. And it's funny, they even did a cover of the Rage Against the Machine song from the end. They did a cover of that. So I'm like, what are they doing? So like I said, there were some touchstones I liked. It's like a guilty pleasure. Certain things that remind me of why I like The Matrix. Certain things that did not work. And it's like a pale comparison. But once again, it's not like, and I will say this, Keanu Reeves, man, I don't know how he's acting in this film, but it was like he was barely acting. It was just bad. I mean,
he was reacting.
It was
Maybe.
kind of like that, but I think nobody really wanted to be there except for maybe Keanu and Carrie-Anne Moss, maybe, and I think some of the younger actors.
It is always so evident in a movie when people don't want to be there. They're like,
and I liked some of the new actors. I thought they did a good job in regards to what they were given. Yeah, so I mean, it's a movie, but it's like it's not a horror. Like it fell apart, or it did its job, but like I said, it was trying to recreate the same thing, so it really wasn't special at all. So, but it wasn't like it was horrible because you could see the beam. So I think a lot of people are overreacting. It's like it is what it is.
It's an overreacting world that we live in when it comes to our entertainment. These days.
Absolutely,
I would agree. I would agree.
Yes, Charlie, I know you loved overreacting to it too. It's the worst thing in the world. Oh my god!
I know.
Oh well.
I couldn't even say I ruined my childhood because I was an adult.
You didn't like The Matrix in the first place, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, lastly, I watched something really fun. I don't know if the rest of you had watched it. It's called Death to 2021 on Netflix. It's a sequel to Death to 2020, which is basically a comedic take on pundits who are actors. Looking back on the events of 2021. Lawrence Fishburne actually did the narration. You got Hugh, the British actor Hugh Grant.
Hugh Laurie?
Hugh Grant in old man makeup being like this white old British guy. You had Tracy Ullman in makeup being like a Fox News pundit. You had other people showing up as like the different elements of it, and they interviewed them as they went through the timing of the year. Very well written, very funny. I'd highly recommend watching this and 2020 just because it's just did that really happen? And it was just the dramatization of things. It was very well done. So it's like an hour long. We had a blast with it.
Oh my god! And that's on Netflix. You said that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. Yeah, I think, and Hugh Grant was playing the same character that he did in 2021, which it was a lot of fun. Very cool. Yeah, and surprisingly, awesome. A lot of the same things happened in 2021 that happened in 2020. Who knew?
Oh, wow. Fascinating.
Yes. Well, that is it for the Geek Easy. So now we're going to head over to our favorite destination for mutants and the vaccinated, and that's the Thunderdome.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome!
Thank you, Tina. We're sitting in the Thunderdome where the mutants have been gathered for a topic or game to be entertained. And this week we are doing our look back and our awards for the best of and the most notorious of 2021. This is the Friendies. It's the 7th Friendies
Award for Outstanding Achievement in
Now let's check in with our hosts this year, Katie Quinn Persson, Mark the Canadian Carabin, Charlie Carden, and Todd Oxtra. And let's see what made 2021 a surprise and a disappointment. Enjoy! And we are excited to go through a few things that we thought were just at top of mind as we look back. So the first category would say it's news stories of the year, the things that made us sad for the year of 2021. So, Katie, did you have something that really made your year in news stories this year?
I would say when they released like the next iteration of the Disney Plus series, which involved Ironheart, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk. So all my ladies are getting their dues, and I am so here for it, especially when I heard Riri Williams was going to be coming into the Marvel Universe. I'm going to be on it. I may have shed a tear. I was so very excited because her comics got canceled far too soon. And like, there is a collectible. I'm not a huge statue collectible fan, but there was one collectible that I saw, which was a statue of her like taking off, and she had her helmet off. So she had her awesome hair, and it was like $80. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And I still to this day think about that statue. And that was like 2 years ago. Possibly more, because it was probably like 5 years ago, because I think it was whenever her comics came out. It was on the Geek, the one that used to be, that's now owned by GameStop. Think Geek.
Yeah.
If you guys can, Geek. When Think Geek was a thing, it was a Think Geek exclusive, and I almost got it, and I didn't, and I regret it still to this day. So her coming in, very excited.
Don't worry, there's always eBay, but you just might have to hold your breath or hold your nose.
Well, and it's a lot more than $80 now because I have looked.
Sure.
Oh
Yep,
yeah,
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you. Once that drops and she's out in the zeitgeist, you're going to see more merch.
Which will be phenomenal. I'm very excited about that.
Very easily be reissued, so I would not fret. It could definitely come around again, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Mark,
Yeah.
what's your story?
Well, I was seeing what you guys were excited to talk about, so I figured I'd spin it to something else. But really, like the MCU stuff was really like Moon Knight and like all the stuff that Katie already just talked about. So I'm not going to touch on that. I will say I was very excited to see the Snyder Cut finally released, just because it shows that sometimes these big corporations, these big companies listen to fans and gonna give people what they want with these. Like you always see, campaigns and hashtags and like change.org or whatever, like all this kind of stuff. And it's like, where does it go? Like, what does this mean anything?
I was saying, Mark, it goes right as you and I both love the Weekly Planet. It's the Aussie say it goes right in the bin, mate.
That's it, right? And it's so like to see this actually become a thing, I thought was really neat. And you can think whatever you want about the movie. I enjoyed it for what it was, and I think part of that was like the novelty of like, holy crap, like they just let them go bananas on this and release a friggin' 4-hour movie or whatever it ended up being.
And it was great. It was all worthwhile watching, I thought.
Right. Yeah. So I thought that was one of my favorite stories of the year, of just like, you know what, he's with his daughter passing, he's had some rough go of it the last little bit, and just allowing the seemingly kind of cathartic release of this movie for him, because I don't think he said he didn't get paid for it or something. Like he waived his fee and like just.
Well, I think he got paid from the first time he was directing it, so I don't think those.
Yes,
but he also got $30 extra million to do it. So
to do stuff, yes, but but took his fee out of that for whatever. But I think I just thought that was a neat story. So that was one of my favorites of the year.
Very cool. Yeah, that was. It's on it's on HBO Max now. So if you want to check it out, and I think they even cut it out into like 4 different parts.
I think there's an easier way to watch it or something. And there's the Justice's Gray edition as well, which is like the black and white cut of it. So they definitely had some fun with it for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's got it, and he released it in a different format, not in your standard 16:9, which I believe it was. It's more almost looks like when somebody takes videos in this format, which is like, Grandma, don't do that. Zach's like, I'm doing it.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yep. That's it. He had free reign to do kind of his vision of it, right? And I love that, and I love that the studio let him.
That's awesome.
And just kind of say, you know what, just run with it. We'll put it online, and people can stream it and whatever. And it's like, cool.
Very cool. Yeah, the people spoke and they got their movie. For me, the surprising part was essentially Star Wars has turned into a TV-only franchise.
For sure.
We have the last movie came out in 2019. And essentially, there is no knowledge, no release dates for any Star Wars properties. We haven't heard anything about any of the directors, and the last thing we heard was Rogue Squadron was coming out, and then we heard Patty is too busy to do it, and it could be that. Also, she didn't like the creative direction of the Disney control and the Star Wars canon, which she didn't have to work with with DC, because DC is just playing fast and loose with their canon, and because of that, it's different with Star Wars. And Star Wars has had a huge problem keeping directors and challenges with that, because it might be part of the problem. It's too strict, and it reduces your artistic vision because you have to do X, Y, and Z. So as of right now, I was reading an article, and it was basically saying, originally, there was supposed to be a movie in 2023, 2027, or 2025 and 2027. At this point, we might not get a movie until 2025. That would be 6 years. I don't know what other franchise can go 6 years without any type of movies, and which is Star Wars is based on the movies, not TV.
I was
The TV.
Todd, you're forgetting about Avatar.
Oh well, yes. That's not really a franchise at this point. It is a one movie, and it will become a franchise.
I was going to say that is very much a wannabe franchise, which I say it very tongue in cheek because I can't stand Avatar. I'm a big thumbs down for Avatar, but whatever.
Yeah, it means a lot for some people.
Is officially going to have blue Wookiees that attach their.
I hope so.
Hair braids to other.
I think that's where we're going. So
it's
just
too sensual.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I hope in the absence of no movies, I hope they start letting the TV series set the pace. It doesn't have to be just the movies, the only one saying we can tell new stories. We can tell them, because I would love some things post the Star Wars saga, we have with the Jedis, because there's stories to tell. And I just, that's my biggest problem. Like that, Star Wars only likes to be in this time frame. We're going to get the Acolyte, which is good, because before that, I think there's some cool stories. I also, my dream project would be an animated series with the original trilogy cast, post Jedi, doing cool stuff, because we've only seen them once post Jedi, and that was with Luke and Leia a little bit in their twilight years, but I'd like to see them in their prime. We've only gotten Luke so far in The Mandalorian, so I would like more of that. Do it animated in the style of What If, potentially, so you can capture their likeness, and I think it'd be very cool, because I'm a little bit burned out on the Clone Wars art style. I think the animation's a little bit stiff at times, so I'd love to see the What If, because I love the animation style. So I would love to see that. But anybody thoughts on just Star Wars, and do you think that some of the projects are really dead, or do you think they're still alive?
Oh man, are you ever talking to the wrong people? Because you got two of us who do a show, and Katie obviously has some strong opinions too. So Katie, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, because you say, can a franchise survive this? But if you think about the fact that, how many years were between the original trilogy and the, prequels?
A hell of a lot.
Right, exactly.
And the sequels,
you're right.
Right, and that's the thing. So I think that there's this. It's more of a modern expectation that there should be a movie every year or every 2 years. And honestly, I would prefer that though? They take their time.
There's going to be a side project and a sequel every other year. So this is Disney, though. I think you can't compare what the Lucas did, because Lucas essentially said, "I don't want to make films." That's why I didn't. But Disney not having $1 billion releases, that's a hard thing to manage, right?
Well, and I think that one of them though is that they've realized that there's a lot of money to be made in those side stories and having people stream on Disney Plus, because they're releasing them on this weekly basis. So it's not like a Netflix drop where, sure, they can subscribe for a month, binge all their shows, and then they're going to cut out. So, and I honestly think that they do better. Like Star Wars, I think has always done better on their TV shows versus their movies. The stories take time to tell. If you really want to be able to tell the story, build the lore and then build the characters, you can't do that in a 2-hour movie.
Right.
Even if you're doing a trilogy.
We're living in that era now, and Todd and I, you and I have talked about this extensively. Mark and I, we've talked about this extensively in relation to Star Wars, is that is what the modern aesthetic of storytelling has become. People don't want to see all the big explosions into this thing, into that thing, whatever it is. We want to see 7 parts of Boba Fett. It's a slow burn. And I know, Todd, you're down on obviously the Book of Boba Fett, but Mark and I are really digging it because it's that slow exploration of his story and how it came to be and why he's doing this now and this and that.
Slow doesn't have I hate slow stories. I want well-paced, well-told stories. If it's slow, that just means it can add boring. You're just doing filler because you don't have enough for 7 episodes. You're like, boring. We gotta draw this out because
second worth of filler in Book of Boba Fett, Todd.
Come on, Mark. It could have been one episode with the Tuskens and done. We're like, get it? We love him.
No,
he raised them.
Become emotionally invested. Whether it's going to lead to a fridge moment
with
Katie,
Pokey and Hidden and Cheat.
Oh my god, Katie, you see what I have to put up with these two morons.
Sorry. It's just not doing it for me. I just feel like it's the most in Star Wars thing there's ever been. I don't.
Oh yes, I'm with Todd. I know we've already talked about this, so I hate what they've done with the Tusken Raiders. I feel like they solely exist just to fill a weird backstory for Boba Fett. He has been the absolute same character. Like there's no development whatsoever. I don't understand why suddenly he got out of the Sarlacc pit and now he's this noble warrior instead of a ruthless bounty hunter. I think that they could have done a lot more growth with him with the Tusken Raiders than having him be the same character he is now versus then.
The savior of the Tusken Raiders.
Yeah.
Too.
What did you call it? Dances with Tuskens? I thought that was pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it's got those same
If he didn't
vibes.
show up, man, they'd be screwed because items.
yeah.
Oh well, we can pivot off. But I just thought. Do you think these projects are going to? You think these projects are going to make it? Or do you think they're going to be canceled? I mean, we don't know.
Patty Jenkins dropped out of Cleopatra to focus on the next Wonder Woman and Rogue Squadron, right? So I mean, that's back on the table now,
right?
It's like she kind of revived it, right? So it's not, she's not leaving for creative differences. That's she literally just left a movie to focus on that.
Well, they haven't confirmed that she's still back on it, or it's not.
She said it in the press release.
Well, I saw the press release was that she's no longer directing Cleopatra. They didn't say anything like the movie's back on, from what I heard. And it doesn't have a release date.
Says,
and it doesn't have a release date either. So that's the other part. No release date, no cast announced, haven't started filming, no script. So it's basically paused and may come out. Yeah, they didn't announce anything about it was paused or not. These are all things we heard. Sorry.
We're turning into the talking heads of ESPN here. So
I never get to talk about Star Wars with Mark. Come on. We want to talk about video games.
I know, Todd. I love you, but you hate Star Wars. I'm sorry, you really do. I can tell by everything.
I know. I don't hate Star Wars. I just hate
you hate bad storytelling.
Oh,
I hate. I don't like just. Hey, here's Star Wars. Love it. I like good storytelling, and I just hate where Star Wars is now. I want Star Wars to grow and do something new. Mm-hmm. That's all it is.
But Mark and I love Star Wars. That's why we kind of do a show. So,
Charlie, you know my feeling about comfort food, and I hate comfort food as a main driver of franchises.
Todd, the next time I see you, I'm bringing you a Big Mac, and I'm going to say, "Here's some Star Wars."
Todd, I think you and I need to start our own Star Wars podcast.
So too.
Because I feel like we would be on the same page with a lot of these critiques.
The I Hate Star Wars podcast on the Secret Friends.
No. How about I love Star Wars, so give me some good stories.
Oh my goodness. All right.
We haven't seen the full story of the
Oh my god.
We haven't, and that's why I'm going to keep watching it.
Left.
All right. I'm gonna spare the beast here and try to turn things back a little bit more in the positive. So for myself, touching back on, I'm going to steal a page from Todd's background. I have in 2021 absolutely adored what Disney Plus has done with the MCU. They have taken this great movie franchise and they have found ways to tell new and exciting stories. I mean, kicking it off with WandaVision, an absolute favorite of April's. Over to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, rather should I say Captain America and the Winter Soldier, which was my personal favorite, because those were my favorite Marvel films. Transitioning over to Loki, which I liked it, but I didn't love it, but I understand why people enjoyed it the way they did. To the What If, the animated project, which gave us back Captain Carter, which was my absolute favorite. They have found a way to take, the MCU, which I have been on board with since day one, back in 2008 with Iron Man, to really finding different ways to tell more detailed stories and fleshing it out and having just enormous success and having everybody love it that much more. So 2021 for me has been the year of Disney Plus and Marvel, without a doubt.
Yeah. We thought we'd get that much Marvel in a year. Holy crap!
Yeah, I know it was, and comparatively, the movies, which I'll talk about in a little while, some were okay, but certainly did not, for me, have the impact that these shows did. Absolutely blew me away.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so something maybe a little less controversial than our news stories is
going
to be our movies. So with movies, we picked our top 5 and biggest disappointment. So Katie, why don't you kick us off? And let's do this, guys. Let's do it instead of let's do our 5, each do our 5, then our 4, then our 3, to make it a little more fun. How about that? So Katie, kick off with your number 5.
I did not put these in any particular order.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
you can't make me pick a favorite. I am indecisive by definition.
Okay, well, we'll go with your number 5 regardless, anyways.
Well, or we could just simply blast through the ones we have, and then we can compare, contrast, and whatever it is. So it doesn't matter.
So how about we just read them, and then if someone wants to bring up a conversation piece, we can do that. Okay. Absolutely. So top 5 for me were in no particular order: Dune, Shang-Chi, Hilda and the Mountain King, Eternals, and Raya and the Last Dragon. Now, I will put a caveat. I have not seen Spider-Man No Way Home, and I have not seen Encanto. So those two, while they may make this list, since I have not seen them, I could not add them.
They're floating.
That's why
floating.
Spider-Man's not on my list for sure.
Right.
Wait, so have you two been spoiled yet?
For
No.
Spider-Man?
I mean, I know that, the other Spider-Mans come in. But
Right.
I mean,
I know
that
basic
was
cast
so
of
leaked
stuff.
Mark, I'm trying to save you.
Right.
Yeah, no,
So-
that was so leaked. There was pictures and stuff like even
Oh,
before
yeah.
the movie was released.
You can't get away from it.
Aside from that, I know basically jack shit about this movie.
Yes.
I
Same.
have
Not bad,
somehow
not bad.
been able to avoid the major like story spoilers or beats or anything like that. Like aside from like expecting to see like Andrew and Toby, I'm still somehow going into this blind.
Yes.
Nice.
When I get a chance to see the damn thing.
Yes.
which I have no idea what's going
I'm hoping this weekend, because we were avoiding the crowds because of COVID, and then my spouse and I got COVID. So I figure at this point, once we're out of quarantine, our immune system's going to be about as good as it can get. So we can go see it.
So I've got
Before
my
this
booster
episode,
dose
Katie had blue hair. Now she's
Tuesday.
green.
Yes.
So the effects of
Oh
COVID.
my.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I've
Am
got my
I
booster
blue?
dose set up for Tuesday, and
Nice.
my wife got her booster. My big concern is that Finn's too young to get any kind of vaccine or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Right.
So,
Right.
I was kind of playing with like, oh, maybe I can go to, and I need a haircut. Anyone watching the video version, it's just like I'm floopy all over. Like I just, but like so anytime I think I want to like go out and face a crowd somewhere, like I see something like in the Kind of Funny Facebook group today. For anyone that's a fan there, someone shared a picture of their young son, looked about Finn's age, like hooked up to ventilators and stuff. And I was just like, nope, not even getting a haircut. Not going to see Spider-Man.
Hell no.
Not worth it.
Hell
It's
no.
not worth
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it's a
absolutely.
totally different
Never.
story. Yeah.
So it's,
Yeah, totally
it's,
different
uh,
story
it's
with
tough.
that.
As much as I want to see Spider-Man, I just
Oh yeah.
the world's freaking me out. So
That's
Yeah,
okay. I got
and
you.
I think we don't know when this is actually coming like home theater streaming because it's a Sony film, so it's not coming to Disney Plus. So
Right.
it could be 4 months, 3 months after theater. So,
knows?
but the thing is not slowing down. It's made like $33 million this week.
It's crazy. Yeah. Mark,
speaking
I've
of
got
like change.org, I did see a petition going around of like, Sony, bring this to streaming.
Mark,
Yeah.
good news. I have it pre-ordered and I can get you hooked up, so we're good.
I
In
did
8
see
months.
the pre-orders up on.
In 8
I
months.
saw the pre-orders up on iTunes. So
Yeah.
but again, there's no release date with
Yeah.
that pre-order. So
Well, Mark,
yeah.
I promise that I will continue to keep you spoiler free after I see it.
It
or at least
ditto.
you will not hear spoilers
if
from
I
me.
see it. Yeah.
Right. Innocent.
So Katie, I do have one question on your list. Hilda and the Mountain King. I know nothing about this movie.
No, me neither.
It was a Netflix release. They did. Hilda is a comic that is just about a little girl who lives in a city called Trollberg, and she's just off on her own fun adventures. The art style is really, really phenomenal. They kept it very key to the original comic. And there's, I think, 3 seasons, I want to say, of the TV show. And then instead of doing a 4th season, the 3rd season left on like a really big cliffhanger. And instead of doing a 4th season, they just kind of decided to wrap it into this like full-length feature film. And they did a really, really great job. They like the beats in the movie were very good. It felt very whole. It felt fully contained, fully realized, and it was a really, really great way as like kind of a send-off to the end of the series. So I would say, you say Finn might really enjoy it. Just as far as the series in general. And it's one of those things that has a lot of heart to it. So watching it as an adult, obviously I'm an adult. I watch a lot of kid things because I find that kid things have a lot of heart to them. And so that's what I really enjoy about it. So I would definitely say if you haven't seen the series or if you haven't read the comics, definitely watch the series and definitely see the movie.
Netflix?
Mm-hmm. Yep, Netflix. It's a Netflix original.
All right.
Nice. Good deal. All right, Mark. Wait, Katie, what was your disappointment?
I wasn't sure if we wanted to list those off right now. If we're going to go back to them, Black
We can
Go
go back
for it.
after. We can go back. We can do our disappointments at the.
No,
when we're
she,
done with
no
our thoughts.
she's already broken the seal. So go ahead, Black Widow.
Okay, well,
Go ahead.
I'll just say Black Widow, and then if you want to know more, you can open that can of worms.
All right. Okay. We'll move on at this point. Mark, you're up.
Okay. So I kind of tried to order mine in a loose way, but like, I could change tomorrow. But so some of my favorites, Shang-Chi, I think was probably up there for my favorite movie of the year. Um, and I don't know if like that and Encanto are probably like my two of my favorites. And I don't know if that order will like change or like, but like those two are like just rock solid. Um, Free Guy was up there just because I really didn't expect to like that one, and really did. Jungle Cruise I thought was fun, and I loved the stupid humor of that ride and how they factored some of it in. But I also I thought the movie again was just kind of better than I expected. And then I threw Zack Snyder's Justice League in there just for the reasons that I had. It was
For
neat.
sure.
However, my disappointment was in myself for not seeing more movies because I realized when I was going through this, I was like, I haven't seen Dune. I haven't seen Eternals. I still haven't watched Raya and the Last Dragon. I haven't seen Spider-Man, Ghostbusters, The Suicide Squad, No Time to Die.
Mhm.
Like all of these
man.
movies, I'm just like,
Eternals next week, Mark, on Disney Plus.
Yep, January 12th.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I finally will be able to watch that next week, but or this coming week, isn't it?
Yeah,
This coming week.
January 12th. So what's that, Tuesday? Tuesday,
It's
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's a big
Yeah.
premiere.
So
date.
by the time this is published, I will most likely have already watched Eternals, and maybe that'll make it on my list retroactively. But for right now, those are some movies that I saw. I think the only movie I saw in theaters was Venom: Let There Be Carnage, and I thought that was just dumb fun and it was like Tom Hardy just like making the best of just being
You
the
did not.
stupidest.
You did not just steal Todd's dumb fun because that's
Dumb fun.
It was dumb fun, and sometimes you just need that. And,
It was dumb, and I actually slept through about maybe 20% of it.
Really? That was a short movie. You must
I
have
know.
that was-
I don't get a lot of sleep. What can I say?
Man, I did enjoy that movie. It didn't make it on my top 5, but like it was. I mean, with the few movies that I saw this year, that was probably the one that I had to cut off.
Slim competition.
And like Black Widow didn't really make it on my list, but I didn't hate that movie, but it was just kind of like, whatever. I did like that it introduced Yelena. So that was,
I didn't
Elena
hate
was a
it.
great addition.
It was more a little too late. Put it that way.
Yeah, that was kind of it. It was just kind of
Yeah.
like, well, you
Good
kind of
point.
know
Good
how
point.
this ends.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Introduce Yelena. It could have been like a 5-minute short of like, hey, this is my sister. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks. See ya. But that was, I don't know. That was, that's my list. I'll stick to that for now.
I want David Harbour in something as the Red
Yeah.
Guardian.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see
he
him
was
come
great.
back.
He was great.
Yeah.
I agree.
I'd like to see him meet Sam as Captain America and just
Right.
and
Take
but
notes.
still be confused, be like, do you remember fighting me in the 70s? And Sam just
Exactly.
like, the hell
What?
are you
Dude,
talking
what are you
about,
talking
man?
about? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Cap was frozen. I was barely born. What are you going on about? And he's
Yeah,
just
right.
like still going off on something.
Yeah.
He's
I
such
team
a-
him
he's
up
a
with
great
Drax.
Yeah, right.
That'd be great.
Oh, that'd be great.
Good too.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so myself, I actually, if anybody knows me, I like spreadsheets. I'm working supply chain and logistics planning. That's what I do. I make spreadsheets, folks, and I assign a numerical value. I did this for our Couchy Awards, Mark. So I'm back
God.
in my wheelhouse. So I actually
Here we
went
go.
through. I went through the list of everything that came out, and I'm like, did I see it? And I put everything down, things I wanted to see. So things are like, maybe I'll see those eventually. I awarded my values, Charlie. So here we go. Number 5,
God.
Spider-Man No Way Home. It was my top-rated Marvel type movie. So really, it wasn't because it was the best movie, but because of everything they achieved in making it. And this director, once again, the only thing he did before this movie was like a small indie film. And to pull off what he did by bringing all these things together, essentially 30 years of 2 different franchises and bringing them back together, that's amazing. It has never been done before.
That was 20 years, but that's okay.
Close enough.
Sure, why not?
Timing has no reason, but yeah, really, really fun and well worth your watch. Then Charlie, this is something we watched this year, and I just
Yeah,
loved the
I
execution.
I agree.
And it's really 3 movies, but there were 3 separate releases: the Fear Street trilogy, R.L. Stine, Netflix. Just these horror films that happened at different periods of time. The way they pulled it off, basically one ended and went to the next one. I think it was released weekly, so it wasn't the binge of everything dropped at once. It was weekly releases, which I loved. And just the way they brought together, it was just so much fun, over the top, and more gruesome than I expected. All I will say is, was it the cutting of the bread, Charlie?
The deli, the bread cutter. That was a bad one. That was a bad one.
Yeah, they did not shy away from that. So yeah, definitely if you're a horror film, that was one of my favorites of the year. Encanto, we didn't say enough good, but I tell you, one of the best soundtracks that I've heard in forever. Yeah. So good. That one song with the Strong Sister was a phenomenal song. Yeah, so good. Sure. So you've got to, Katie, you've got to see it. Just, it's really, really good. Then movie I just saw not that long ago, Nightmare Alley. Just really cool to see Guillermo del Toro pull off a noir film based on a book that had a movie from like the 50s that came out. And I just loved what he got from the actors, the way they performed. And it was really a morality tale. And I just really enjoyed it. No supernatural bits at all, but just loved how he got the era, the way it looked, the actors, the performances. That's really astounding. Really loved it. And I wish the movie was doing better. But once again, Disney's doing some flim-flam on their releases and just letting films out to die. They should have picked like a January or February release for this film. So, oh well. Then my number 1. This movie had no right to be this good. Dune was phenomenal. I loved it. I thought it was great. And the fact is we are getting a sequel, which is great. I always say this movie felt like the Fellowship of the Rings. You know, this one is really just getting everything set up, and we're going to see where this goes. I really enjoyed it.
Is it Dune or is it Dune?
Dune. It's Dune.
That was just for Charlie.
It's not Scandinavian, I don't think.
I was going to say, Mark, let's be honest. How many dunes do you have there in Canada? Don't lie.
So many sand dunes and
sand dunes. But yes, it's dunes.
Yeah. Fun fact, I actually have, and when I grew up across the street from my house, there were sand dunes. It was so weird. I didn't understand why we had sand back there. Maybe there was like nuclear blast from the 40s, but we have sand dunes. So there you go.
Were you like Anakin? Did you hate the sand? Tell the truth.
When it got in the crevices, man, nothing worse.
Not the crevices.
But I haven't, but it didn't cause me to kill children or my spouse.
Ouch. Well, Todd, it's funny you should mention killing, because what's your big disappointment?
Oh, Charlie, I'm surprised this wasn't on your list, man, because this was a movie I was excited about.
Well, I had to pick 2, but yeah, go ahead.
Halloween Kills, man. This movie was a huge disappointment. It felt like a total different staff, writers, directors. This was like the bad, 80s horror film brought back in without the sensibility of today. And it was just like, I just didn't understand what they were doing. There was going to be a 3rd movie. So I maybe there's more to this and I'm just not in on the joke, but man, oh man, it fell flat for me.
Absolutely all over the place. It was a mess. It was a total mess. I totally agree with you. All right, Charlie's turn. And again, I will take a page from Katie's book and go in no particular order. But a lot of the same beats here. I love Ghostbusters Afterlife. Awesome film. A lot of heart to it. Spider-Man No Way Home. Exactly the same. Tons of heart. Obviously, the worst kept secret in the world is obviously the return of the previous 2 actors to play Spider-Man, which the interplay between them was fantastic. I like the Suicide Squad. It gave us the Peacemaker character, John Cena, who we're going to see in an HBO Max series. The return, of course, of Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, and kind of a chance for her to set herself apart from what had come before. I thought she did a nice job. And just overall, I really dug this film. It was a good time. Free Guy was just a romp. I like Ryan Reynolds. I know that that's not the same of everybody, but he was the most Ryan Reynolds-y Ryan Reynolds he could be in this film. And for me, it really worked. And the 5th entry, James Bond, No Time to Die. And Mark, you said you hadn't seen it, so I can't even say the last thing I was going to say.
Hold on.
Oh, you covering? Are you doing the earmuffs?
But if he listens to the podcast, he'll get spoiled.
He'll just know to skip this part.
I won't spoil it, but this film did something unique in James Bondery that had not been done before, and I really appreciated that. And I will not say what it is. I won't say. Okay, so, and then for my disappointment, I couldn't throw Halloween Kills in there because it would be a three-way tie, but I hated The Matrix. I already talked about that last week. And I probably talked about this back when it came out, but the Snake Eyes movie, what a pile of shit. Oh my God. I've loved G.I. Joe since I was...
Is that a spoiler?
No, I have loved G.I. Joe since I was 6 years old. I have wanted it to attain its glory in the modern age. We had a movie in 2009. We had a movie in 2013, both of which were total shit. And this took it a level beyond being shitty. It was really bad, poorly scripted, terrible characters, totally incomprehensible plot, fail, even though it had a cameo by Larry Hama, who I've met in real life and is actually a pretty cool guy. Kind of a bummer. Let's hope that they can get it right next time. Fingers crossed. We'll see.
Rough.
Well, that is it for movies. So let us know what you thought about the world of movies in 2021, and let us know what your thoughts are on, obviously, what 2022, what you're excited about. So we're going to move on to top 5 TV, biggest disappointments. So Katie, once again, are these in order or not?
Wait, are these supposed to be our biggest disappointments?
No, no, five top, one disappointment.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait.
No, I was just saying, are yours in order? Are they all disappointments?
Good direction, Todd. Great direction.
No, they are not in any particular order. But I was going to be like, y'all are going to not have me back on this podcast if these are supposed to be our top 5 disappointments, and you're reading through this list, going, "What the hell, Katie?" No, again, in no particular order. I think you're going to start seeing a theme from me is that I love a good art direction. Because again, Bad Batch, I love the story. I love just all of the intrigue. And again, watching through the Clone Wars, I'm picking up on things that I'm like, I wonder if that influenced how that character reacted in the Bad Batch, and if that ties into what's going to happen later. So I'm very excited to see where this show goes. I thought it'd be unfair of me just to list 5 of the Marvel TV shows, so I just put the entire Marvel Disney Plus lineup because otherwise,
it's like a get out of jail free card. You got it.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna put down one of it. Okay, I'm gonna put down Loki. Okay, well, I have to put down Hawkeye, and I was like, wait, now I'm running out of spots, and I don't want it to all go
Katie,
to Marvel.
I'm in the same spot.
Yes,
yeah. It's true. I did it too.
Yeah. So just all of the Disney Marvel lineup. Arcane, absolutely phenomenal show. I did not expect it to be good. I'm going to be honest. And then I started hearing really good things about it. So I was like, well, maybe it'll be okay. And the art looks really fun. And then I watched it and it was absolutely phenomenal. And this is going to sound weird because she's not involved, but I feel like they finally did Harley Quinn right, even though she's not Harley Quinn. But Jinx felt more Harley Quinn to me than I've ever seen in any iteration of a character, if that makes sense. She-Ra was new to me. That's been out for a while now, though. But at one point, I just finally put it on, and then I binged the entire show in like 3 days. And then at one point, I was sick, and so Aaron, my spouse, was like, do you want to watch She-Ra? And he knows that if it's my favorite show, because at several points he had walked into the living room to see me bawling as I'm watching this show because it's got all the feels. And he's like, why do you do this to yourself? And so he refuses to watch them with me because he knows he'll get all the feels. So this time when I was sick, he's like, well, let's just put on a comfort show for you. So then he got hooked on it. And so then we both cried through it again. And it's just one of my comfort shows now that I just put on all the time. Charlie, you can go ahead and have all your feelings because I'm going to say Lower Decks, definitely on there. That's another show that Aaron and I will just put on when we want to watch something and we don't know what to watch.
I mean, I totally feel like I was soured against it from the dynasty that existed on my show before that. So I feel like I got to go watch it. Because even April was like, I didn't really think it was any more racy in season 2 than it was in season 1. So I may have to revert because I guess I was a little go with it because again, my co-hosts at the time were very against it. So maybe
I think you and I need to do like a live stream where we rewatch it and then we can have our own reactions to it.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I think that if we watched it and then had like just talked about the episode right afterward or something, I think that we could
Okay.
have some fun.
All right. I'm down.
And then my biggest disappointment is Star Trek Prodigy, because I was so excited to have Janeway back. I was absolutely excited, just so ecstatic, and I really want them to just throw Dal on airlock. Like, he's just a raging narcissist, and he, in the first 4 episodes, he nearly killed his crew like 3 times for no reason other than the fact that he's a raging narcissist and cannot acknowledge when he's wrong. And it's a kid's show.
It's just growing pains. Yeah, you're right. It is really a bad lesson, isn't it? I agree. It's bad.
Katie, after watching and thinking about this, I think he's just a normal teenage boy, because teenage boys are pretty.
Yeah.
But those are bad things. Like, you shouldn't be emulating those bad behaviors.
I think it's going to be the long play of he finally gets some humility, modesty, and all those things maybe later on. I think that's where they're
definitely something like, if you want to hear me just totally drag him, definitely listen to Code 47 when I'm on. But
you got it. Oh, I just can't wait.
I am so sick of the trope of the full of himself, overly confident for no reason other than he's the main character, dude, protagonist.
Right.
Being the main character for no other reason than he's the main character, when he is surrounded by fully capable individuals, especially the fully capable, more intelligent, more skilled than him side female character who is there to save his ass and be a romance option.
Right.
She, of course, enslaved him, though. So that's a problem.
No, her dad did, and she has in those 4 episodes I watched, her arc was so much more interesting as you're watching her entire world fall around her, and she's having more growth than the protagonist. So again,
there's trust issues. Once you've been enslaved, you kind of have trust issues with the person who enslaved you.
I cannot wait to talk about this more on Code 47. Please subscribe to the network feed. Trust me, it'll be great. All right,
this is a hill I will die on.
I love it. Oh, I love it. I love that expression. Mark, you are up.
Okay. I definitely took a note from Katie and just said the MCU Disney Plus shows, because they were great.
Happy to be a role model.
Yeah, 100%. like What If? Hawkeye, I absolutely loved. Loki was slow at points, but the ending set up basically the next, I think, 10 years of MCU stuff, possibly.
God, yes. Oh yeah.
And yeah, just holy crap, did we ever eat good on Disney Plus if you're a Marvel fan. So I won't get too much more into that. Again, in no real super particular order for the rest of these. Ted Lasso season 2 I thought was great.
I gotta finish that, Mark.
Ted Lasso, man, so good. They just
you should dress up like Coach. You should dress up like Coach for next Halloween.
Todd, I thought that was your favorite show of all time, and you haven't finished it. Shame.
I am Charlie. I don't want it to end. That's because the show is so good, and it only comes out once a year, and it's so good. I love it, so I want to eke it out.
There's so few episodes that it's just kind of like, we have to wait a whole other year for more. And
I don't know.
Anyway, we do. But the nice thing for this season was we got my parents watching it and my brother, so they all watched straight through season 1 and 2, and we were able to kind of talk about it and just kind of geek out over everything. So Ted Lasso season 2 was great. Bluey, I mentioned this before, but Bluey is a kid show,
right?
But it's not really. It's not really. It's kid. Bluey is a parenting show that kids can enjoy. If you've seen Bluey, there's so much stuff as parents watching it that you're just like, oh man, yeah, I got to try that. Or yeah, I get that 100%. That is that they're talking directly to me and my kids liking because it's a big blue dog and whatever. And there's funny little things going on, but they're talking to me right now. So Bluey's great. If you haven't seen it, it's on Disney Plus and it's phenomenal. Star Wars Visions and Bad Batch round out. And I could have probably said Star Wars on Disney Plus the same way I did MCU, and I could have thrown the latest season of Mythic Quest in here.
Oh yeah,
so
it's good.
Maybe I'll do that. But anyway, I did think Star Wars Visions was absolutely amazing. I know Charlie wasn't a huge fan. And I love what they did with the Bad Batch, and I'm still hoping we see maybe some Bad Batch-ish stuff make its way into Book of Boba Fett. I would very much enjoy something from there, but I won't get into too much more. But I've definitely said it over on Holocron.
Would you say the
Chronicles.
Alpha and the Omega?
Maybe. I don't want to spoil anything because Katie still needs to watch it.
Watch
so I'm
it.
not gonna say too much more. Disappointments. I can't remember like a real like a show that I really didn't like this year. Yeah. So I'm just gonna leave it at that, I guess. I don't know. I was disappointed.
You didn't disappoint yourself, Mark, that you didn't watch more again?
Can't disappoint yourself twice.
Just Bluey over and over again. I love so far the Book of Boba Fett, but I am disappointed that we have to wait seemingly a whole other year for Mando season 3.
True.
So I'm disappointed that show completely took the place of the other show, when it seems like in 2022 we're getting the ending of Book of Boba Fett, we're getting Andor, we're getting potentially Kenobi. Like, why can they do potentially three shows this year and Bad Batch season 2? So why can they do 3, maybe 4 shows this year, but no Mando. I don't know.
Got to keep people watching, Mark. So they only have so many. They've got to push these productions out because they're like COVID, Omicron.
Right.
They got to make sure they don't burn their wick out too long.
Why do they have to worry about COVID? Everybody's wearing a mask. Look at it.
well, Charlie, was like Star Trek, right? Like you got sometimes Discovery would feel like it was like almost 2 years. We're like really far away. Yeah, and other things came in.
Well,
so yeah.
When are we ever going to see Stranger Things? You know what I mean? It's been like 5 years since we've seen that show. Oh my God.
Feels like it. Yeah. That's definitely a disappointment to me. Okay. Well, I will get into mine. So this is going to be a little bit of a different list. So my number 5, and these once again, did my Excel spreadsheet, ranked and this first one, I didn't realize it came out this year because we're already on season 2. This one dropped in January. It's called The Great North. It's a Fox animated show. And if you like Bob's Burgers, this is once again the kindest shows, the kindest people are in the show. It's about a family who love each other in Alaska, being wacky and weird, a strange little town. It's got Ron Swanson is the dad. Yeah, a lot of other voice actors. I don't know. There's some others that are new. Some are people you know. Megan Mullally, I think she has to be contractually obligated to be on a show with Ron Swanson. Just because they're married in real life, so she's on it as well. But I just love the show. It is so good, and I just can't stop watching it. It just always makes my heart smile. And it's not the most hilarious show in the world, but it just has that thing that I just love about Bob's Burgers. So The Great North, definitely check it out. I think it's on Hulu. So if you're curious, watch it. It grows. First, you're like, these characters are annoying. There's a couple I don't really like, but I'm hoping it'll be like most animated shows. Like you'll get to see the positive of them over the years they develop them. So check out The Great North. Then Masters of the Universe Revelations. I was worried we were only going to get the first part this year, but we got the second part, and I finished both of them. And this was great. And I know a lot of people were angry because, like, where's He-Man? Why isn't He-Man in this? Why are we focusing on Teela? And there's a reason. And this, I think this is one and done, but I loved it, and it was what I wanted out of He-Man. We got another He-Man series that's on Netflix, which isn't very good, but it's more kid-focused, more new generation. But I just love this. They played on the tropes of He-Man, really developed the characters. They had each character had some great moments, and I really enjoyed it, and they played with some things. Some good character development as well, which I really enjoyed. Kevin Smith made this, and I thought, we're going to get lots of, like, fart jokes and things like that. Nope, he played it straight. Brought some good writing to the table, even though I know the controversial, he's not really a big He-Man fan, but after watching this, I think he had people that were like experts on He-Man, and he made it work in a modern age. So by all means, we didn't get the the sequel to the stupid live action movie from 1987, I think. Thank God.
Oh boy.
So that was, because I love He-Man, and I'm glad this got to put him in a good right, because She-Ra got a good show. He-Man should as well. So there we go. Then I almost duplicated what you guys did with your Marvel shows. I left off one show. I thought WandaVision, Loki, and Hawkeye all did really cool, innovative things. I thought Cap and the Winter Soldier did nothing new. I thought it was a very much like 18 type of show. It played it safe, didn't do anything with storytelling, played it straight. Yes, we got the Cap moment with him, but that was already in the comic. So for me, it wasn't a big deal. I just thought it was just not an interesting story, except for him becoming Cap. I didn't think the antagonist was that interesting. I just thought it was a rote story with really no interesting cinematography, really cool story twists or anything like that. So I just found it a much lesser show. It felt like a show that would have been on Netflix, to be honest. I didn't think it was that, except for maybe a couple opening sequences. I just didn't find it as compelling. And it ultimately didn't do anything new. Well, no, I just thought
you need to rewatch it with the idea of watching for all of the racially charged underpinnings.
Oh no, I get that. But after reading the comics, though, I just felt like the comics actually did it better. I just thought this was in a lot of the points where they spoke, I felt were too on the nose. It was kind of like, really, guys, you did that? You basically said, this is exactly what I'm going to tell you. It felt like a speech he had prepared versus off the cuff. It felt stilted. To me, it just felt too on the nose, nothing new and innovative compared to the other shows that I thought they really had a voice. One was a action buddy comedy. Loki was doing things with time travel and different things of duality of a person. WandaVision did things with that. Captain Winter Soldier, like I said, I felt like A-Team with some motivational speaking.
And didn't even make your disappointments list. All right, keep it moving.
Then Invincible. Oh, man. Talk about a great adaptation of a comic book series that did enough different, was still adult, total great story, had a lot of feels about a kid who's finding his way. It's basically, the best way to say this is Spider-Man and Superman combined. Really told well, really loved it. Amazon's doing some great things. Animation on streaming is raising the bar. Without streaming, we would have so less opportunities to have great animation. So I love that we got this, and I can't wait for the next season. Absolutely love it. Then Arcane. I'm just following that up once again. Arcane, Netflix. League of Legends it's a beloved video game series that I've never played and I have no interest in playing. But what they did with using that world and just said, go have fun with it. Awesome animation. Like I said, I think Arcane could teach Disney Studios and the Clone Wars what they could do with their action, the motion, and makes it so fluid, and just some of the effects are so cool, so innovative. So I would like to see more of this animation style go out there, because I think some people could really take some notes from it and taking some chances from an animation style. So there you go, Arcane. Number one. Lastly, disappointment. I would say it wasn't just this show, but a lot of shows got canceled this year after very minimal opportunities to grow and find an audience, which I don't like about the binge culture, because Cowboy Bebop, 3 weeks after it came out, canceled. Just imagine your favorite show, like Seinfeld, did not burn the world on fire the first season, took time to grow. We would have not gotten some of the best shows if they were in today's environment, because they didn't catch on. So that is a huge disappointment. But Why the Last Man got canceled. We got Cowboy Bebop canceled. The regulars on Netflix got canceled after one season in a very short window. So I think the binge culture is a detriment for shows finding a voice and getting discovered.
Well, in fairness, that Why the Last Man was a weekly series, though. So that wasn't a binge culture.
Yes, sorry.
But I am in complete agreement with you. We love that show. God, I mean, it came out on whatever day of the week it came out. We were like, oh my God, the show's out this week. But yeah, you're right. It
got canceled even before the season came out. Like after 6 weeks, yeah.
And again, I think it was FX on Hulu. So it was like, what was the shared ownership? Obviously, we have Hulu with no commercials. So they're not getting that ad revenue off of us. So yeah, where do the dollars come from? And that's the real question. So but
it's a shame.
Was a really, really well made series. And I'm bummed that we can't see it continue, because I really did.
And one of my favorite comic book series of all time. So I hope it gets picked up somewhere else, because I think it's a story that's well deserved, especially when you talk about themes of gender and equality, and just themes of when the world breaks down. How do we see people that doesn't have a zombie involved in it? It's just basically something bad happens.
It's just people being terrible. All right, well, I'll take over. And again, as being the last person, a lot of my story beats have been covered. I will starkly contrast what Actress said about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I absolutely loved it. But again, I love those films. And I'll agree with Katie, the underpinnings talking about racial equality, it certainly really spoke to me as well. So I love that show. A lot of great vibes. And again, I didn't lump together. I should have done the big Marvel lump because it kind of gobbled up my list. But I loved WandaVision. I loved What If because how it touched on and What If, of course, entirely being based upon stories from the MCU as opposed to comic stories, really gave something really familiar to those who were potentially uninitiated to the comic book culture. I enjoyed Star Trek Prodigy. Sorry, I know Doll sucks, but I love seeing Janeway again, and I love the big reveal of this latest episode. Katie, please just catch up, watch it, because we got to talk about it in a couple of weeks anyway.
Oh, so I will. I will.
You're contractually obligated to get caught up. But the last one I'm going to toss in there is the show that nobody else has watched. It's on Showtime. It's called Yellow Jackets, and this is a weird one. About a group of adult women looking back on their past when they were in high school. They were all in a plane crash while they were on their way to high school volleyball finals, and they survived, but then they had to learn how to survive in the witnesses, and they were in the wilderness, in the Canadian wilderness, and there were a lot of dark, scary secrets that happened. The story is told largely in flashback, but also in present time, and how those secrets all kind of coagulated into one story. So it is really, really very gripping. I didn't jump Yellow Jackets in there because we just started watching it and we're talking about 2021. But Yellow Jackets is a really, really gripping story. Finally, my disappointment.
Charlie, I was going to say, that sounds exactly like Lost. Crash on an island, get survived, and come back a year later and weird stuff happens.
No, it was separated by about 25 years. So this is really, I wouldn't consider it like Lost. But
no, that's just the concept of Lost. They crash, things happen, flashbacks, and it takes part in the future. That's the Lost kind of storyline.
I didn't really see it as being the same. But anyway, finally, my disappointment, and I've mentioned it before, was The Bad Batch. I thought it was kind of 50-50. And John, our other founding Secret Friend member, have been talking about this. It was, it started kind of compelling. We were filled with a lot of kind of filler episodes in the middle, and it ended with a bang. But it was hard to, Mark and I have talked about this too. It was 16 episodes, but I feel like it could have been a good 8. Because I just felt like there was a lot of like, oh, now we're off and doing this thing, and now we're working for Rhea Perlman, and Rhea Perlman's telling us to do this thing, and it was just
Rhea Perlman. What is she? Was she playing Rhea Perlman?
No. Yes, no, she was not. But she did voice a critical character in the series. So yeah, I just felt like it was a lot of wasted space for the bulk of it. But I hope, with the show coming back, that they'll do better in the subsequent round. So here's to hoping.
Oh, 16. That's like such an anomaly. Like nothing is normally more than 8. And usually that's because there's good reason. Typically most shows, they have like 8 good ones and 10 bad ones.
Right, exactly right. Yeah, that's where we're at, yeah.
Well, I think it's playing more to the classic, like the Clone Wars TV series and more of those kids shows where you would get, 20-something episodes off of it.
Yeah, when Cartoon Network was doing that was kind of the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. My outlook for it was it's not made for us. Like we can enjoy some things of it, and we can enjoy about 8 episodes of it or whatever, or 6 episodes of it. Like because we're like, oh, what's the story and how does it relate to Star Wars, and like, is this character going to show up in a live action show or whatever? But like, really, for me, The Bad Batch was kind of like that made for kids show. So there's going to be some filler that's going to entertain kids or keep on going or whatever. But like, that's just kind of the way I went into every episode of that, is like, okay, well, this is probably going to be made for kids, but every once in a while you're going to get the Siege of Mandalore or something out of one of the Star Wars animated shows, and it's going to be awesome.
It was kind of like the chase card in your bubblegum pack of trading cards, right? It's like, whoa.
All right, that is it for TV. Let us know your TV picks, folks. And we're going to now move into, I should call it the potpourri, but we're calling it comics, books, collectibles. Top 3, and then maybe a disappointment you might have had in that realm. So, Katie, once again, I'm not sure if you rank these. Probably not, unless you're surprising me.
No, that last one decided to rank.
Okay.
No, I did not rank them. This was more of me just kind of pulling things out because I don't do collectibles usually. I mean, I have a few of them, but it's more of like gifts and that sort of thing. And I just got the Marvel Unlimited, so I haven't really been reading a lot of comics because, again, I haven't been able to go out and get comics. So I've been just running through the gambit. And so my first one I put down is that I actually really enjoyed the new run of Eternals that's been going on. It was written by, again, the same gentleman who did Young Avengers. Charlie, I know I was pushing that on you a little while ago.
Totes.
Yes, Gillian. I can never remember his
Kieran
Gillian. So again, just brief synopsis. The narrator of it is the Earth. Is like the AI of the Earth, and it slowly starts, like, you find out, like, within the first issue, it's like, oh, I think there's something wrong with me. And so it just is kind of it slowly, like, realizing that there are problems with it, and because of that, its personality starts changing. So very fun, very dramatic. It felt very Eternals. Then I was sharing the other day, if you follow me on Twitter, because I'm actually being active on Twitter now.
I know. I'm trying to do that too. I'm working my ass off.
Good job, everybody.
I know. So this technically, I just got it this past week, but the Kickstarter was last year, so I'm going to count it as a 2021 fun thing. Is Sentinels of the Multiverse. It is a kind of, I guess, tabletop game where you play, you have a deck that is evolved around a superhero, and then those superheroes fight a villain who has their own deck, and so things happen. And we used to play it with our friends, and then they kind of revamped everything. They came out with this definitive edition, and the Kickstarter, you got special foil cards with the decks, or with the hero deck, so I'm counting that as a collectible item. Even though it might not be, but I'm counting it as a collectible item. And my spouse and I actually just played it before we got on casting, and they streamlined a lot of things. It runs a lot smoother than it used to, where before it was kind of clunky and you didn't really know what was going on. But I would say that it was really, really fun to play, and definitely something if you just want a fun, kind of easy going where you're not actually having to like build a deck while you play and everything's kind of set out. It's a really fun one to go with, kind of a good party game if you want to take some time for it.
It's all original creations, right?
Yep, it's all original creation. So obviously, like, you have characters like Tachyon, who's like a speedster, but obviously they're not going to call them the Flash because that would be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I don't think DC would love that. So, but like their entire character is based off of like drawing a bunch of cards and then doing damage based off the cards that you have in your hand and discarding that sort of thing. I played a character named Fanatic, where she is kind of a berserker type character, where once she gets below a certain health point, she does extra damage. So it's kind of this thing of like mitigating, where I'm like, okay, well, no, I need to be hit by this because then I can do this extra damage. But also now I only have 10 health left. So if I get hit again, I might be in really bad trouble. And we're trying to like do that before the villain actually is able to do his big bad thing, because the villain decks progressively get more difficult. And so I would say it's a lot of fun. Once, if we ever get out of the pandemic, I can bring it over and we can do a Twitch stream with us all playing it.
Nice, very cool,
crazy,
yeah,
nice.
And then I put down Silk. I went back and read the original run that was, I think, the 2015 run of hers, and I enjoyed it so much I jumped into the 2021 run and then found all of the crossover issues between Spider-Gwen and Spider-Woman, so I could figure out what was going on between those. So it ended up being this really fun rabbit hole that I did not expect to be falling down, and so I put that one on there just because I really, really enjoy Cindy Moon. I hope that I get to see more of her at some point, along with Ghost Spider or Spider-Gwen. And so yeah, I would say that was my run. I was hoping that I could put America Chavez on here, but I haven't actually started like really getting into the comics of her run, so I'm not going to put her down just because I don't want to I can't say whether or not I'm going to enjoy it as much as I did with the Eternals and the Silk run.
Awesome,
very nice,
sweet, cool.
No disappointments?
I can't say yet. I don't. Maybe America Chavez will be disappointing.
Oh.
I doubt it. I doubt it. But
retroactive. That's cool. All right, Mark, what do you got?
All right. So I actually planned something ahead. All of mine have been right behind me this entire time. Oh my
Mm.
Oh
goodness.
my goodness, the prestige.
I highly doubt people will actually be able to see it, but in no particular order, my Mandalorian Black Series helmet. I absolutely love this. It's great.
my X-wing.
My Darth Vader Lego bust, which is right here. It's still in box. It's about 80% of the way built, and I haven't had time to finish the build. And I'm just loving this. We got this for Finn. It's this guy right here, like the life-size Grogu kind of figurine type thing. It comes with a little frog that he eats, and I can't even remember the company that made it. And it's great, and it's supposed to be Finn's, but he just kind of like every once in a while will pay attention to it. So anytime I put the helmet on, I kind of adopt Grogu as my own, and just
Aww.
like so my wife will come downstairs and I'll be just like sitting watching something with my helmet on and Grogu in my lap, and she's just like, "We have a real kid, like freaking take care of him or something." Like,
Not any longer. He's dead to me. Yes, I've adopted a new child.
And she just
I like
something
this.
at me,
I
but
like
I'm
this.
I'm wearing a helmet. You're not going to hurt me.
I
It's
like
great.
this stuffed animal. I like this stuffed animal that doesn't ask anything of me, so leave me alone.
Yeah, that's it. So, and they're three of my favorite things. I know, like I could have, and I did all collectibles for some reason, but I could have probably picked. I didn't read a ton of comics, but I did like some stuff they were doing with Star Wars, the High Republic. I liked. You can judge me on this all you want, but I liked the Fortnite Batman crossovers that they did, especially the Batman that laughs. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, awesome.
To see the like again weird multiverse kind of stuff, and like seems to be Batman canon that with the Fortnite universe and stuff. It really weird stuff that they did, and I like
it was well done.
This little weird one shot series. Yeah. So I know I'm cheating and doing more than 3, but whatever. So my disappointment though. Real extending lightsabers. They showed these off at D23. The patent for them, we've talked about it on Holocron again. It's like, I think it's going to be a little flimsy or whatever. And that's why I'm disappointed, because they're not ever going to be selling these to customers. They seem to be just like a little show off piece. Like Rey's going to come out at the end of a fireworks show and like light a real lightsaber up, and it's going to extend and be like, oh, and then Chewie's going to be like, and everyone's going to be like, okay, cool. Leave Disney World now. So that's basically how this is going to happen. Because the Star Wars like fireworks show in Hollywood Studios in Disney World is like, whew, man, something else. So I think like if they could end that with like an extending lightsaber, like that's all you need. But I'm still disappointed that I won't be able to buy like an extending real lightsaber that I can use to, cut wood in the dead of winter and stuff.
Someday it'll happen for you.
I want to like carve a Christmas turkey with a lightsaber. Is that too much to ask? Come on.
I don't think so.
The lawsuits will be great.
All things are possible. All things are possible.
Yeah, you can buy knives, you can buy flamethrowers, you can buy laser pointers. Why not combine them all into one great object?
I know it's terrible.
Yeah.
Give the people what they want.
I think that'd be a good thing. Anyway, that's
Perfect.
my
I
list.
cannot see Tales from the Yar, just like Tales from Mos Eisley.
Okay, here's the thing. I'd personally rather be stabbed or cut at least with a lightsaber than like a real, like a sword or something, because the lightsaber is going to cauterize the wound. So if you were going to cut my hand off, for instance, because, Star Wars, I would personally rather, I have a giant pirate sword looking machete in my trunk right now. I would rather a lightsaber cut my hand off than that machete, because the machete is going to bleed out and everything. The lightsaber is just going to like cauterize it. It's going to be nice, and you're going to move on with your day.
I mean,
When you don't want to reattach your hand, it's a perfect option because you severed all the nerves.
It's a salient argument. I can't disagree with you there.
Yes. So
all right.
Take your tips from Mark on how you'd like to be.
Very good. All right,
Todd, this took a very weird turn. I did not agree to this podcast.
Very weird turn. No.
All right, so Todd,
Mark's in Canada. He's far away from us. So
let's steer it back. Todd, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, so these won't be in any particular order, but you know what? The cool part is I'm a prop comic tonight. So I'm going to start off with number 1, was one of my favorite cartoons. So going back to animated from Disney from the 90s, I believe, was Gargoyles. And Gargoyles is on Disney Plus. Love the show. A lot of Star Trek alums too in that show. Really phenomenal.
Mr. Frakes.
And oh my goodness, Mecha has a fantastic line of toys. And I got Goliath. And you can't really see him, but there's the box. And then when you open it up, you can't really see him. God, my background is bad, but I will show you guys after this, and I'll put links up. But it is phenomenal. It's huge. I mean, it's wonderful.
That's why you got to have a real background, my friend. Have a real background.
Nobody wants to see my fireplace and my dogs running around. So yeah, it doesn't matter. But that was one of my favorites. It was like $35 for the size and articulation. It's wonderful, and they are expanding the line. So you can get your Demona, which is Deanna Troi, played that voice. So there you go. So love it. Love that the fact that I can get anything from my childhood now. I can get a collectible because there were crappy ones back in the day. So that's number one. Number two, I love Mass Effect. It's one of my favorite franchises of all time, and I never owned anything from them, and I decided to splurge, and I got the helmet from the collector's edition, so I'm gonna wear it.
What? Todd drops some bucks.
It's very cool. It turns colors. It's very, very
cool. Disappear completely. That's your cloaking invisibility.
And like I said,
because it can't read his face. Cool. It's just gone.
I know, and it's with the background too. That was
phenomenal.
That was a YouTube only feature, so you got to tune into our
yes, you've got to see it. But Commander Shepard's helmet and Seven, one of my favorite franchises, one of my favorite character arcs. Love it. So I was glad to get that.
His headphones weren't in, so he doesn't know that his face disappeared.
Right.
What?
Todd, you put that on, and since your face,
your completely covered it up. Aw.
Yeah, you basically were just from the neck up. You were gone. We saw the helmet for half a second, and then that was
there. You go. I'm holding it up next to my body. There you can see it.
He pulled a complete. It was a complete new beanie.
Oh, no. Oh well. It is there. Yes. Todd is gone. Cool. Yes, a little flim flam. So that is number two, and then number three, whatever you want to call it. Batman '89 and Superman '78 both came out this year.
Good stuff.
I love the fact that we're getting an extension of those cinematic universes that just ceased to exist. We got nothing from those after 2 Batman films and essentially 4, so-so Superman films. But this is awesome, and we're getting these cool creative teams who can make the characters look very similar to the likenesses of the film and expand it, because we're getting Brainiac, we're getting other characters from the Batman mythos, we're getting Billy D. Williams as Two-Face. I mean, how cool is that? Yeah, it's really cool. It's great. I love that. They same thing they did with Wonder Woman 77 as well with Linda Carter back in the day as well. So very cool. And Batman 66 with Adam West.
Is this stuff movie canon? Like, could we see some of this affect how Michael Keaton is returning to the Flash?
Oh, that's a great question.
It could be. DC typically does like Elseworlds though, where they basically say this happens, and it's like What If for Marvel.
It's
similar.
But
it'd be cool if they did that, Mark. That's a good idea. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. Definitely. And then lastly, my disappointment is the price of Transformers Masterpiece figures. These are the high end that Hasbro makes from Japan. Unfortunately, majority of the time they're over $150, and I love them. They're wonderful. Their articulation, they actually look like the animated series, and they look just like the vehicles are supposed to be, but they're very expensive. So I've got a few, but I still want an Optimus. I still want some of the jets, and it's very expensive. Even the stuff that's from Japan that you can get a little bit cheaper, it's hard to get stuff out of Asia right now. So
in order to get the jets, do you have to get Benny or?
Absolutely, yes. He's the pilot.
And Elton and Bernie, take me to the pilot. That's another Elton John song.
Thank you, Mark.
Todd, I hate to punctuate this, but people who complain about prices don't really understand what being a collector is all about.
Charlie, come on. $150 for a toy is a lot.
You're coming from a place of privilege if you can afford them, because
$150 for a toy is damn expensive no matter what you are.
I absolutely agree, but you have to understand that things cost what they cost. That's all I'm saying.
And all I'm saying is, so somebody make a knockoff and I'll buy it.
And what I'm saying is, go to eBay right now and you will absolutely find it.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying I wish they were cheaper because I would buy more. So they're losing out on money because the prices are so high.
I'm sure they're doing just fine.
It's one of those
Yeah.
things, Todd. I can. This is another point we're going to agree on, because when I collect something, I don't collect it because I'm planning on reselling it at some point. I feel like the whole oh well, that's the value of it, is that it's the resale.
Mhm.
I'm gonna take it out of the
Right.
box. I'm gonna put it on the shelf because I want to look at it. I want to see it. So like I get it if I'm gonna be paying a little bit more if it's like a really high end, figurine or something like that. Sure, but also saying like, well, you just don't understand collecting because that's what the price is for. Like, no, I just want a cool figure that I can have. I'm not going to resell it.
Right.
Yeah.
I hear you. Well, and I will touch a little bit about, I will kind of rail against Hasbro on mine, but my stuff is mostly collectibles as well. I do the Marvel Legends figures. I also do the Star Wars Black series, though they didn't really have one that blew me away this year. But for the numbers 1 and number 2 for me was for the What If series. It was just from the first segment. Steve Rogers as the Hydra Stomper, which was the World War II version of the Iron Man figure. Iron Man was a giant, like, probably 10-inch figure, heavy. No stand required for this bad boy. It was pretty formidable. So that has a great space on my shelf. Captain Carter, Peggy Carter as Captain Britain, as it were, got 2 different versions. She got her classic version. She got her modern day version. Likeness of it was absolutely beautiful. I was really very impressed. I will echo what Todd said about Superman 78. I love the storyline. Wasn't crazy about the art. I haven't yet read Batman 89, but I think I definitely need to. But Superman 78 was one of the few I backed out of collecting monthly comics, but Superman 78 was one that I followed because Christopher Reeve's portrayal of the Man of Steel will always be my favorite. So I was really glad to see that continue. And then finally, my big disappointment for the year was kind of twofold. Hasbro in general, which again does Marvel Legends, which they do a great job of, but they do a piss poor job of producing the Star Wars figures, and none of which was more evident by their super lackadaisical, super lazy rollout or failed rollout of the HasLab crowdfunded project of doing the Rancor. Now, Todd, you and I covered this really lock and step all along the way. Hasbro started this project when they launched it side by side with a crowdfunded HasLab project for G.I. Joe, which April and I actually bought, and we saw that it was funded, and we got a lot of the upper tiers that went with it. But when they rolled this project out, they provided a gray plastic unfinished sample of the project to try to entice people. So they weren't even ready to go to market when they launched it.
Couldn't afford an artist to make it colored.
Exactly. And then when they announced their tiers, they had a cardboard backdrop. They had a couple of crappy set pieces that didn't make any sense. And then they finally announced their upper tiers, which were going to be some reissued figures. And this was just an absolute great example of Hasbro being 100% tone deaf of what collectors really wanted to see, to foot the $350 bill to get this thing produced. It was not successful. The project was not funded and will now not happen because ultimately collectors were looking for something else, and they did. Again, ultimately, what consumers have to do when they see a project that doesn't fit the bill is to speak with their wallets and not pay the money. So, Hasbro, you proved my point. But again, until you start double packing regular stormtroopers in every single wave that you ever produce so that I can get all those army builders I want, you're dead to me.
Make Charlie happy.
I will still spend my money, but I'll do it hatefully. It's hateful respect. Hateful respect.
Charlie, just a fun fact that, quite honestly, all the Rancors they were producing were all the failed Cookie Monster HasLab.
Right.
They basically they just peeled off the flesh, and that's what was underneath it was a Rancor.
Right. I can't believe they couldn't find a way to make it sell. It's unbelievable.
I was this close to just listing 3 Funko Pop figures and just seeing if I could make some real toy collectors' heads pop off. So I'm glad that we had a better discussion about that. Some good stuff.
Oh, holy cow! Well, that's it, friends. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so we made it through 2021. We're looking forward to 2022. We did a preview last week, and then we will get on to the cadence of normal shows in the future. This was fun, guys. I hope everyone had a good time. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Not guys, everyone. And I hope everyone is going to have an awesome 2022. So with that, we are done with the show. Mark and Katie, thank you for joining us. And before we leave, tell people how they can find the both of you.
You can find me on Twitter under QT Geek. It is Q_T Geek. And then I am on Instagram at Quintessential Geek.
All right. And you can find me everywhere, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at _Canardian.
Excellent.
Awesome.
And as for Todd and I, as always, you can find me on Twitter at ThisC3, spell it out. I am also the major domo of the USS Grand Petoskey, the Star Trek International Fan Club chapter here in West Michigan. Find me on all the socials and on the web as such. And I also try to keep up with populating stories to foster discussion over on our Secret Friends Unite Facebook page. Look for us there.
And as always, follow me at Toxtra on Twitter, where you'll see the old man shaking his fist at the cloud and people around the world and the internet. Why can't you be more like me? But with that, I'd also request those of you to rate us on Spotify. Follow us on Spotify, rate us, because now you can rate us on Spotify, which is great movement to get podcasts rated in other platforms other than iTunes. So please do that. So once again, thanks for everyone joining us. Charlie, at that point, take us out.
That's my line. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I'm going to tell you, as always, that sharing is caring and to keep on trucking.
Be the hero, not the villain.
In a truck.
I almost said, "May the force be with you, Rex, play us out." Like, I'm so used to doing that when Charlie finishes up.
That's good enough.
All right, well, stay thirsty, my friends.
Misa love 2021.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow at Secret Friends U on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.